This week on Checkpoint, we are constantly being told to save water. But did a multi-billion rand project dubbed War on Leaks save a single drop?
That program was probably conceptualized somewhere in a Chisanyam.
None of us has been deployed, not even one. Apparently, there's a rumor that someone in the parliament was asked where the War on Leaks trainees. He said they've employed, not even one person was employed.
I honestly don't advise anyone to join the War on Leaks because you're going to stress yourself more than you are stressed.
This is Checkpoint, and I'm Nkepile Mabuse. A presidential grand plan to reduce the 7 billion rand we apparently lose in water every year and at the same time offer training and employment to 15,000 young people was announced in 2015 by President Jacob Zuma. At the time, it was lauded as a win-win. Well, not if you speak to the trainees who say they were left high and dry. Health E! News spoke to a few of the disgruntled apprentices who say the initial fanfare waned as soon as the project started. 2015 and President Jacob Zuma declared it the year of the artisan.
Government, through the Department of Water and Sanitation, will train 15,000 artisans or plumbers who will fix leaking taps in their local communities.
There was great fanfare when the War on Leaks program was announced, meant to solve the crisis of an apparent 37% of water lost to leaks.
The country loses 7 billion rand a year to water losses.
A so-called win-win.
The Department of Water and Sanitation has appointed the country's leading water utility, Rand Water, as the implementing agent to help us realize these ideals.
Alusha Matale from Woodbank saw the adverts for the program and applied.
It was in 2015, yes, somewhere in the beginning of the year. On the post, it said trained water apprenticeships. It has different codes, different references for different provinces. And then I applied for Mpumalanga and I applied for instrumentation because that's what I did back at school.
Mpoko Disang was also among the lucky ones to be chosen.
Immediately after the interview, yes, we got calls and we were told that we must go to Gandhi Square in Johannesburg. That's where we're going to take buses to Eastern Cape.
After the briefing in East London, they were all bussed to Port Elizabeth to meet the president who was launching the program.
We're 3,000 coming from different provinces. So I could safely say all 9 provinces.
We arrived at East London. They booked hotels, everything for us for about a week. We were so many. We were 3,000 trainees, mind you. So Eastern Cape hotels were all filled that week. So they booked us the hotels. I remember we were also in ICC.
And we were all happy. The place, I don't want to lie on that one. The place was fantastic, superb. Some were staying at 5-star hotels.
These people, they provided with breakfast from the hotels we were. If your hotel was not catered, because the hotels are different, if they were not catering, and then we would know that restaurants like Nando's would come in the morning and bring us our breakfast. Everything was just sorted. Even in the buses, we have meals. We had meals like 3 times. That's why I meant there was a lot of money that time. You could see that, no, there was a lot of money.
There was great excitement as they gathered for the president's announcement.
I'm very happy to be here in the friendly city.
I remember they took us around 2 a.m., yes, in the morning. And then we traveled to meet President Jacob Zuma there.
The president didn't talk much. He was just explaining to us why this program.
A three-phased program has been identified for the recruitment, training, and deployment of the plumbers, artisans, and water agents.
They also mentioned that the country is running short of artisans. That's why they are implementing this, program.
She says there was no doubt that they would have jobs at the end of the program.
I remember someone told us that, what, guys, don't mind the stipend, that it's too little or something. Just look at where you're going, because after this, you will definitely be sorted. We'll make sure that the municipalities absorb you.
Watch the space. This is a revolution. This is really a war that South Africa is determined to fight.
Viwek Misa from Mount Frere in the Eastern Cape says the allure and promises were too good to be true.
They even made an example that by then, the current salary for a qualified artisan was 25,000 rand. So that was like a dream that may come true one of the days.
All 3,000 trainees in the first phase were bussed back to their homes and were awaiting their contracts and training. They were divided into two groups: artisans like plumbers, instrumentation technicians and electricians, and then community water agents. Water agents were meant to identify the leaks. They signed their contracts, and the first course they undertook was entrepreneurship.
That's where many complaints started, because the venues that they chose for those programs, they were so weird, some of them, because there were people who were sent to churches.
We were placed at the place called, I can't remember but it's a family pub, and we had a problem with that, because we said, how can we be trained in a pub?
There was a group that was chased in a church or something, and then they had to attend, the first entrepreneur, they had to attend under a tree or something, so that's when we started raising eyebrows.
The guy, we told him that this place is not conducive.
The trainees were also forced to leave their homes.
You are forced to go to a city that you've never lived to before.
The other problem was the stipend, which barely covered expenses. Artisans were earning 2,500 rand a month and water agents 2,000 over the 3-year training period. But the fees were seldom paid in full, they say.
We started receiving SMSs informing us that the stipend will be late due to a number of issues which were not specified on the messages.
Many of the trainees had to relocate for training, and the stipend would barely cover rent, transport and food.
Imagine, they take you to Hammanskraal. You don't know anyone there. Like for myself, my home is in Witbank. And then if you place me at Hammanskraal, I don't know anyone there. And then what happens if your rent gets stipend on time? No, now you're starting to run around from there. You're starting to hide yourself from the landlord, because obviously they want their money. They are not doing charity or something.
Matale says she even saw a post on Facebook of a young trainee who was raped after being evicted for not paying rent.
I don't remember if the landlord chased her or she was on her way back from the training center, but she got gang raped. But the main cause, it was due to late stipend.
Coming up, trainees march to the department.
They were fed up.